So I'm going to record now. So thank you guys for joining us. My name is Danielle Craig. I'm the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Research, Experiential Learning, and Honors. And we have partnered, and Mrs. Poe is on the line. She is our Director of URELA. And we have partnered with the graduate, I don't want to say it wrong, Graduate
Do
Studies.
you understand them better?
Office of Graduate Studies and Research.
There we go. Office of Graduate Studies and
What's
Research
Oh,
that?
had that. Okay. I asked you guys to mute yourselves for me.
Oh,
Um,
like higher voices.
Let me try to mute you because I hear you. All right. So, and we have combined efforts to bring you guys Mr. Eric Robert. I hope I said it right. If not, you can correct me. Okay, that's right.
Close enough.
LinkedIn Learning, who will be uh, diving into LinkedIn for us, right? We all need to update our LinkedIn and make sure that it is great for people to see what our business networks. So we are excited about that. So I want to say welcome, welcome. I also want to give the floor to Mrs. Lolly so she can give a welcome on behalf of the Graduate Studies and Research. I hope, yeah, I busted that up, but it's okay. Thank you so much. Here we go, Mrs. Lolly.
Thank you, Miss Craig. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cheryl Lally. I am the Director of Graduate Admissions here at Delaware State University, and we are under the School of Graduate Adult and Extended Studies. Miss Cheryl Steele is the Director in the Graduate Student Support Services down in that area. And I just wanted to introduce myself and to let you know that Delaware State University does offer graduate programs here. We have a robust system. We have 27 graduate programs across 4 academic colleges. We offer 21 master's degrees with 6 doctoral degrees. We also have a certificate in alcohol and drug counseling. And so our courses are also offered in Dover and Wilmington and online. And so graduate school is always an option. Please reach out to our office if you have questions, and I will put my name and email in the chat. But thank you for your time, and I look forward to Mr. Roberts' presentation because I definitely need some help on my LinkedIn profile. So I am here as a participant as well, and I will be taking notes so that I can get my page typed. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm just going to hand it right off to Mr. Robert. If you would like to take the stage. And again, we're all excited. I'm excited. I have my LinkedIn page done, but I need to go ahead and make sure that it's spruced up a little bit, I'm sure. So we're ready. Thank you so much for joining us here at Delaware State today.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Yeah, it's funny, the concept of LinkedIn and social media. LinkedIn is one of the pieces of social media that has been thought of as a almost kind of a thing where you can tell somebody's looking for a job because all of a sudden they start updating their LinkedIn profile, right? But what LinkedIn really is LinkedIn is something that is sort of a living thing that you're constantly adapting, you're constantly. So by way of introduction for myself, yes, my name is Eric Rauber, pronounced Rauber, Rober, whatever. Actually, my family pronounces it 2 different ways, which is strange, but they do. And so I've been with LinkedIn for a little over 7 years. I came to LinkedIn like a lot of people from various walks of life, and ended up at this great company. LinkedIn is actually a Microsoft company. We were acquired by Microsoft a handful of years ago as well. And one of the traditions that we have at LinkedIn is sort of part of our introduction is to tell everybody about something that's not on our LinkedIn profile. So I always kind of stew around like what's something that's relevant to the most recent thing. And I'll say something that is not on my LinkedIn profile is I just recently relearned how to ski about a month or 2 ago. So that was fun and painful, but still I was able to make it through. So yeah, so here was what I'm here to talk to you today is about your LinkedIn profile. A lot of this is going to be sort of the nuts and bolts of how to build a good profile. But a lot of it is also the reasoning behind why it's good to have a good professional profile. So with LinkedIn, obviously, a lot of you may know, and I have a deck I can show you, and I don't want to be super deck heavy here. I'd like to obviously have people, if you can, if you have a LinkedIn profile or if you haven't yet created one, open it up in a separate window and just take a look at it as we're going through this. because as we talk through this, you'll notice a few things, and you don't have to do it at the time, but you'll notice a few things, maybe here or there, that you can start working on to build your profile. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start by sharing the screen here, as long as I can get this correct and in the right place.
And Eric, I'm not sure if I told you, but we do have a volunteer for a profile.
Oh, perfect.
You asked
Perfect.
for. Okay.
Excellent.
Mr. Is Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent.
So whenever you're ready to pin
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. I'll let you know. We could do it right after this. And what you could do is just drop your profile link in the chat there, and I'll pick it up. And then we can just walk through. I'm not going to criticize you, trust me. What I'm going to do is I'll just go through and we'll talk about different ways you can position this or position that. And if you'd like to be involved, absolutely appreciate it. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Get into slideshow mode so it's easier to see. Okay. Hold on. Is it sharing? I don't think it's sharing. Let me go back. Do it again. People still popping in. That's good. All right, here we go. Okay. So you can see, my name's Eric. This is your LinkedIn Rocker Profile session. So basically, here's what our agenda, I kind of went over this a little bit, is part of it is just getting to know what LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is a social media company, very large social media company, but it is one and only the #1 company that's focused on your professional story. And so that's why it's very important to look at what it is to build a good LinkedIn professional profile. So getting to know LinkedIn. So we have a ton of different information on what LinkedIn is. You can, as you can kind of see here, you can get into a lot of these different video assets on LinkedIn. There's links that I can show in this deck, and we can follow this up with everybody. But LinkedIn's major vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So this is our true north vision. It's what drives the company. And it is what we base all of our decisions on what we are creating here at LinkedIn, from all of the various things that we do, from the recruiter products, from sales products, from LinkedIn Learning, et cetera, down to just the member profile, the basic member profile. Now, our mission is to connect the world's professionals and to make them more productive and successful. So this is our overarching, again, our overarching objective. It is what we base all of our decisions on. Again, is the basic member profile. We have a mantra. The first mantra is members first. So everything we do, we always look through the lens of members first. So why LinkedIn? And I might go through some of these quickly. This will give us a chance to get into the actual demo portion of this. But what we're really doing on LinkedIn is we are connecting to opportunity. So LinkedIn has this concept that's called the economic graph. And what this is building out, let's go ahead and flow all these out here. Building out, essentially, if you think about it, a world map of all, my dog's barking in her sleep, sorry, of all of the people that exist on LinkedIn. There are over 800 million people now on LinkedIn, 58 million companies, hundreds of schools, or thousands of schools that are out there. And what we're doing is we are helping to basically map the economic workforce out there. This is making it easier for companies to find employees, for employees to find companies, and vice versa, to share knowledge, share skills, and everything else. So the LinkedIn itself has vast amounts of data about what jobs are out there, what skills trends are out there, hiring trends, all that kind of good stuff all over the world. So it's got the most data when you're talking about and analytics, if you're really thinking about it, of how to really visualize, if you will, the world economic market. So what the profile is, a profile is building out your professional story. So this is you. Think of it as this. I come from a marketing background. It's marketing. You are an asset. And what you're doing is you're marketing yourself as an asset to a potential employee or potential employer. Now they are doing the opposite. They are a recruiter out there. They're an employer. They also have what are called company pages or university pages. You can look up any company on LinkedIn. If you're looking at a job or looking for a job, go look at any company. You can see their entire profile. Same concept. So everybody is basically positioning themselves to present the best story for themselves as an individual, as a company, as a university, whatever it may be. So sort of the first steps for a good and rounded LinkedIn profile. Some of them may seem basic, but they're all kind of there. So for instance, the first step is to just add a photo. So you can kind of see some of the statistics there. What a photo does in the world of fake profiles, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. What a photo does is it actually shows that you're a person, simply. And what we notice is when, let's say you do or don't have a photo, I work with recruiters all the time at universities, and sometimes these recruiters will not have a photo. I say, well, just think about it. Think if you reached out to somebody out there for a job and you didn't have a photo on your profile. The first thing they're going to think is either this person's not real or they're just simply not going to take it seriously. So they're just going to move on. So recruiters have an opportunity to actually search for people, look for anybody, go through the whole mechanics of looking for an individual, but they also have the ability to turn the photo off. So what that does is that removes any potential biases or anything like that they may have, but it just gives them an opportunity to just look at the profile itself. So I always recommend add a photo and allow the recruiters that are out there, allow the people out there to either know them or know who you are by the photo. And the photo doesn't have to be anything magical. You'll see it. You could even show some of my profile. It doesn't have to be magical. I think I'm in a restaurant, but it just worked. But you can tell you get more messages. So that's just kind of the first thing. The second thing, and this is part of what's kind of new at LinkedIn, is recording your name. I have a last name that it seems like you actually got it right earlier. It seems like half the time people pronounce it incorrectly. Now, it's not a very big problem for me because, as mentioned, my family, we actually do pronounce our last name differently. Literally, one side pronounces it one way, Rober, the other one pronounces it Rauber. I go by Rauber. That's just what my dad decided when he was in college. And one of the things you can now do on LinkedIn is to just make it easier for anyone to know a little bit more about you. They can hear your voice, you can record your name. So you can do it on mobile. It takes very short amount of time. You can also now add your pronouns. So it just tells a little bit more about who you are, should you want to do that. So some people decide they don't want to do it. Some people do want to do it, but hiring managers believe, as you can kind of see there, that it is something that at least shows some respect and just provides people with a little bit more information. So additionally, you can now create profile videos. So these are fantastic. So this is, you can even do this you can even do this with applications where you could basically create a video about yourself, and it's something you take again on the mobile, and you provide information about yourself, share a bit of your story, etc. And you can actually view analytics on that video itself. And again, it's another way to just simply get yourself out there a little bit, kind of show who you are to prospective recruiters or connections, whomever. Other things too, as you kind of scroll through your profile, is adding industries. So as a student, you can add your industry or prospective industry. So that basically is telling, I keep saying recruiters. Recruiters have the ability to search for industries, people with skills, certificates, all that kind of good stuff. So if you put an industry such as, in this case, financial services, you may be working towards that goal, but you will show up in searches and it will allow recruiters to find you. Additionally, and you'll see this as you kind of go through your profiles, you'll see within people's photos and also on their pages, but within their photos, you'll see kind of a little colored hashtag. It'll be kind of purple or it'll be blue. And it has like a hashtag open to work. That's a new feature as well. So when you click on this, show that you're open to work is what they're describing here. When you click on that, what it does is it adds that little tag to your photo. And so it's kind of like, if you're scrolling through something quickly, you scroll through, and this thing pops up, immediately your eye catches it. So as you notice, kind of they're 40%, or you're 40% more likely to be noticed by recruiters because you're not saying that you're passive in terms of work. It says you're actively pursuing work, and therefore you have a greater chance of being a good candidate, at least while you're moving through their process. Summaries, as you continue down, that's kind of the about section, as you see. That's kind of what you would call your elevator pitch. 40 words is what we recommend. I actually did a little bit more on mine, particularly because there's oftentimes a lot more story to tell. But really, this is something that, again, the concept of an elevator pitch is if you get in an elevator with somebody and you go up 10 floors, can you provide a pitch to somebody in that time it takes you to go 10 floors? In other words, 30 seconds. So that's what you want to really do, is you just want to tell a compelling story that basically, this is marketing. So this could be, instead of it being just a list, it could be like, this is what I am, this is what I'm all about. And it could be completely work related, or it doesn't have to be. Recruiters actually do enjoy a mixture of personal and professional in there because it tells more of a story of who you are. And we'll get into more of that a little bit later as well. If you have content that you can feature, I know if in your graduate school or anywhere else that you guys might be doing this, you have a lot of different things that you might be putting together. That could be various works of, let's say, art whatsoever. It could be digital. It could be anything that you could basically do. If you're, again, trying to promote yourself as a great employee for XYZ company, a great way to do that is to actually put the content on there that makes you stick out, makes you show up as this is a person that knows what they're doing. So for instance, if you're going for a role that requires some sort of video editing or anything like that, you could put content on there that shows sort of your skills, or a sizzle reel, if you will, for that kind of thing. And that, again, helps you to feature different things that help you to stand out. And sort of, this is more of the more obvious stuff that's been on LinkedIn for a while, is detailed work experiences. Every promotion, every single promotion you get within an internal company, mark it down, put it in there, put it in there. Because what you're doing is you're showing the progression of where you've come, sort of at your baseline, to where you are now. If you don't have a lot of work experience, and this is what occurs with a lot of students out there, we'll see a little bit later, volunteer work, any internships you've done, anything you possibly have done that would detail that you are committed, you've done this, you've done that, et cetera. What that's going to do is just going to round out your story. Now, as you get older, let's say, and you're in your 40s or so, and like myself, and the internship you did, 20 years ago probably isn't fully relevant, that could potentially drop off your profile, but it's not necessary this time. So that's a really good place to just detail your work experience. And this is just kind of going a little bit further into that, where you can get into all the details of, as I mentioned, the full-time employment, part-time employment, all kinds of stuff like that. And this is continue kind of going down that route. So this is a new one too, a career break. So I know there's some grad students out there. I was a grad student at one point. And I also had a break at the time, now that I mention it, now I think of it. So what you can do now, and this is actually something new as of, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, you can now, as has done, especially in the pandemic, there were a lot of people that had to make choices over the last couple of years. Did they continue to work? Maybe they lost their jobs, they had a career break, maybe they had to stay at home, they had to take care of kids. There are plenty of people that were like that. You can now add a career break, essentially, if you will, as a piece of experience. I wouldn't say as a job necessarily, but as you can kind of see in the sort of the description there as it goes, you can now describe what you were doing, what were you up to, all this other stuff, because a lot of companies now are doing, which is a newly coined term, what are called returnships, kind of like an internship, but a returnship. What that is it's helping people to be who were out of the workforce that took a break for whatever reason. They're coming back into that same field, and some companies are doing returnship because what they're finding is people that have skills that are out there that just need to get sort of up to speed, usually can be trained up quickly and could be moving on all cylinders right away. So that's another great thing you can add to your profile. There's also creator mode, as you might be able to do. Creator mode is kind of like you might have in terms of influencers, all that kind of stuff. You can create all kinds of different content and get that onto LinkedIn to share and showcase. Again, I mentioned volunteer experience. If you are a volunteer in any way, shape, or form, add volunteer experience. Again, it's going to build a well-rounded profile for individuals, especially recruiters that are coming to look for anyone in any particular way. Skills and endorsements. So skills and endorsements are very important as well because, so for instance, if you have a LinkedIn profile, or excuse me, if you have a LinkedIn Learning account, you take LinkedIn Learning courses and complete those courses. You can upload certificates of completion on those skills. So it may be the Adobe Suite or whatever it may be. You can upload those skills to your profile and it adds that to your skill. What that does is now recruiters that are out there looking for employees, they can fill or they can actually search for those skills on LinkedIn. So let's say you live within the region that they're happening to be looking in. They're looking for somebody who has your skills. You will pop up in that region with those skills as a potential for them to target as an employee. There's a lot of different tools on LinkedIn now too that do give recruiters the ability to search, as I mentioned, for active job searchers, but also passive. So people who may or may not be open to work now, but if you've been on LinkedIn long enough and you have some skills, people will reach out to you regardless. And then recommendations are always a good place to go, especially if you're moving out of the school realm, if you don't have a ton of experience, but professors that you've had, mentors that you've had, all that kind of content is really good to put into your recommendation, or just ask for recommendations. It's very easy. You can kind of see there, you can ask for it on LinkedIn. Individuals basically sent hey, would you mind doing an update or doing a recommendation for me? And then they can fill it out. And once they're complete, you can review it and you can put it on your page. You can also give them as well, as you can kind of tell. So finally, the one thing I want you to really kind of focus on is sort of the core four is when you're building a good profile is your location, the education you have, anything you have that's public you've created in any way, shape, or form, and your accomplishments. So those are all very, very important to put on there because, again, if you don't have a lot of experience, which we've all been there. I remember when I first created my profile, it was about 2000, I don't know, long time ago. I didn't have very much. I had, I think, 1 or 2 jobs prior to that. One was an internship. And so the more you put on there about who you are, about really where you're looking to go, the better. So those are all the things that are really, really kind of important to have on LinkedIn. And then finally, before we get in sort of the demo portion of this, I'd love to give you this. So if you have your LinkedIn, if you have LinkedIn on your phone, you can open up LinkedIn and on the search bar on the top on your mobile device. Can't really show you on here. It's kind of hard on these cameras. But if you click in the search bar, there's a little QR looking thing on the top right. You can click on that and you can scan this QR code here. That's actually my LinkedIn profile. So what will happen is it'll actually reach out to me. You can connect with me. I'm always here as a resource. Been working at LinkedIn for a long time. I know all the ins and outs and all the different things you can do here. But since we've gone through all that there, so feel free, if you'd like to connect with me, you certainly can. And we can go through the demo in just a second, but let's take a pause here. Does anybody have any particular questions? And if you don't, that is okay.
Hi, thank you. I have a quick question, if that's okay.
For sure.
So do you recommend when doing LinkedIn, like if you get friend requests from someone you may not know, but they're in like the same industry as you, do you recommend having more connections or just keeping it to people that you do know well?
That's a very good question. So let me show you here while we got it. My thought on that is typically I want to know the person in some way. for instance, I'll share again here. This is my network. So I have 874 connections. Sounds like a lot, but it's probably not that many. When you're kind of looking, look at LeVar Burton's here. The guy from Reading Rainbow. That is random. I don't know why I just noticed that. But I always recommend, if you can, if somebody reaches out to you like that and they are in your same industry, I would chat with them first and just kind of talk to them before you accept a connection request. The reason is because I don't like to have like a bunch of people on there that I don't know. Because when you start to go to connect with people, you will have, for instance, I will go to your university page. So when you go to your university page, I think it'll pop up, may not. What it'll tell me is it'll tell me here that there are, first of all, it says how many employees are here. That's one thing. That's not what I was showing you. But what it'll do is it'll tell you how many people are first, second, or third connections to you. So a first connection is somebody I'm connected with directly. A second connection is somebody I know knows this person. So we're both connected with this person. So that's a second. A third connection is basically somebody who's just kind of there, out there in the ether. So I always at least try to make sure that I'm at least a second connection with somebody before I accept a connection request, or at least get to know them. In the case of what'll happen a lot of times is you'll get messages down here in the bottom right. And these will be from, example, I got one right here. These will be from people that are reaching out to you as a recruiter. So they very well, so look at their message. They very well can be reaching out to you just to connect because you may be a possibility to as an employee.
And that's actually me, funny enough.
Yeah, exactly. So that is something that is really, it's kind of to each their own,
Right.
you know, because you can set your privacy settings to be, I don't know why I keep going off share since I feel like I keep going on there. You can set your privacy settings to allow all sorts of different display types, you know, so your visibility. So when you go to look at profiles, are you visible in some way? So for instance, you know, do I want to show up completely me? Do I want to just be this person, or do I want to be anonymous? That's my choice on how I want it to be displayed. So there's a lot of different things you can change with your account to, you know, specifically when we're talking about privacy. But yeah, it's kind of to each their own.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else? I can just flip through this as well as you kind of give. So this is just my profile. So this is just my feed. So when you have your LinkedIn profile here, you've got the feed. It's going to bring up, in my case, my company group. So I'm part of LinkedIn's company group, strange enough. And it talks about different things that the company group posts. It's only things that I can see, people that I've connected with, coworkers. I have a LinkedIn Learning account, so this populates LinkedIn learning courses that could be relevant to me, or maybe they're new, etc. So all that kind of stuff can pop up on my LinkedIn feed. But really the nuts and bolts of creating the profile, you just click on your little picture up here and you just go to view my profile. So why don't we go ahead at this point, since we're hopping into this, I'll do a quick one over here. I have a tagline here. So a lot of people, so here's my picture. Again, it's nothing special. It's probably 10 years old, but it just was a headshot that I had in a restaurant. So you can clear, it's not professional. It doesn't need to be professional. Just needs to kind of give a little picture of who you are. This line here is kind of a tagline. First of all, I like puns, so that's why there's a pun there. A lot of people will put, for instance, like salesperson at XYZ company. You could do that, but the way I treat this is it's almost like the tagline of you. You know, so like if you were a product out there and you're trying to sell yourself, what would be your tagline that would sell yourself within that industry? So that's kind of what I've done there. And then you can kind of see various analytics and resources and, you know, the abouts that I've done, the activity that I've done. You know, mentioned too that the various levels that you may be going through in a company you're in, put them in there because it tells more of a story of who you are, and kind of where you've come from and what you've done. Certificates, these are LinkedIn learning courses that I've taken over the years. These are recommendations. So this is my profile, but again, you can go in and you can update all kinds of different things. You can add your pronouns, you can change your headlines, you can do your voice introduction, all that kind of good stuff. That's all available to you there on the profile. So why don't we, if we can, I don't recall the name, but if you don't mind dropping in the chat there your profile, we can go take a look at yours, and we can kind of point and click around, take a look at some different things we might be able to do. Yeah, my phone is currently getting blown up with connections. It always happens during our right. So just in the chat there, if you see the chat, you go up into just up here. I'll show you. So just up here in the search bar, just copy this little guy right here, and then post it. When you go into Teams again, there's a little button that says chat, and you can post it and copy and paste it in the chat. Let's see here. I've got two here. I got Jonathan and I got Paula.
Jonathan was our volunteer.
All right, let's see here. See here. Jonathan, I got your feed. Can you click on hey, can you click on the on your name or your picture there on the top, and then click on my profile, view my profile, and send that to me? That's where you'd find that specific link. It's usually something that looks like.
See it?
Something that looks like this. There we go. That could work. There you are. Perfect. All right, Jonathan. Let's do this. Okay. All right, cool. So here you are, Jonathan. All right. Well, actually, you look like you've got a pretty decent profile, at least started out. Okay, so maybe give you some background on you a little bit, if you don't mind sharing. You got a good picture, so done really well with that right off the bat. You're telling me you're alumnus at Southern University Agricultural Mechanical. Okay, Baton Rouge. So there is, as I mentioned, there is a possibility where you could tell more of possibly who you are or where you're looking to go. So let's say you're a student worker at a judicial district court, which is awesome. What are you doing? What are you doing at the district court?
Well, currently I work for Delaware State University in the Office of Financial Aid. I'm a financial aid counselor. This is just
Financial aid.
so
Okay. No, this is a great example. So what I would suggest in this case is, what is it you do? What is it your passion is? Perhaps within the realm of your current role, or maybe where you're looking to go. It doesn't even have to be within your current role. So for instance, if you're going to graduate school, looking to do something else, maybe you're getting into some other career field whatsoever, you could totally sell this line right here, this tagline, as where you're looking to go. So it could be any sort of thing within your particular realm of expertise. And so, yeah, definitely when you're talking about experience, update your experience to provide, where you are, because it's not what LinkedIn likes to be called necessarily, is the online resume. But the point I made near the very beginning of LinkedIn being a living, breathing sort of activity that you do, the posts that you do, all of these different things are very important because it keeps up, and what it does is it puts you in people's profiles and their feeds. So in other words, when you start posting things, they'll pop up in other people's feeds. And that's good because that keeps you top of mind, and it keeps you, first of all, getting more connections. And the more connections you have, the more opportunity you have down the line when you're looking to build out your network and you're looking for other jobs, all kinds of good stuff like that. So what you could do is you can go in and change your background here, add something that maybe tells a story about who you are, where you're coming from, all that kind of good stuff. And add the skills that make the most sense to you. All that kind of good stuff is going to be really good for you to specifically, should you start looking for other roles, to allow you to be targeted for leadership, customer service, and beyond. So that's a good example of how you can kind of take what we're talking about here. And it's very easy to do that kind of stuff. You would just go up here and click on my profile. So now I'm back into mine again. And you just click up here at the top where there's either, the little pencil here, do all your updates on where you may be. Down here to experience, you can add, you can update. So you can go in and add all kinds of different things to what you may be doing. So that's where you would go and start clicking all that kind of good stuff. Does that make sense?
It does.
Cool. All right. Good. We want to look at, I saw a couple others pop up there. We can look at another one. Let me see here. If y'all don't mind. I saw Paula. You mind if I share yours? Take a look. There we go. Paula, do you mind? Oh yeah, there you go. Thanks. Appreciate it. Otherwise, why'd you post it, right? All right. All right, perfect. So here's Paula. She's got her pronouns on there. So there you go. You've gone through and you've done a few extra things. You could also go in and you could pronounce your name. Not to say that this is difficult or anything like that, but you could do that if you'd like. And that's something that also helps. Student intern at the Office of Lieutenant Governor. So that's good. So that's something that you could, rather than putting the student intern, you can put, why are you there? For instance, what are you doing there? What is your role? Obviously, some of that can be described down here in the experience area, but that's also, so you graduated, or you're going to graduate in 2023. Perfect. So you're still criminal justice. Are you looking to get a law degree? Is that kind of your end goal there?
And she
Okay.
put in the chat, yes. I don't think her mic is working.
Yeah, I just saw it pop up. Cool. So what you could do is you could, and your tagline there could be something like prospective law student, or you can have fun with it, former future attorney general, or something like that as well. So you could do stuff like that to really kind of make yourself stick out when people start looking for you for various things. So I like your about. It tells you, it's not too long. It tells you a lot about who you are. So those are all really good. Your experience is good. You can also, if you have skills here, you can also add any recommendations you might have for any professors. Those would be very helpful. If you have any works that you've done that you could also share on LinkedIn, you can post those as well. And you've got various activities, all that kind of good stuff as well. You've already reached out, so I'm gonna go ahead and accept you. Notice that it brings up a people you may know. This is people that apparently that I have mutual connections with you. So there's a handful of people here. And so, for instance, I have, like this person, I have 12 different mutual connections. It's not specifically with you, but I just have mutual connections with them. So it's kind of interesting how what happens is the more you build your network out, the more mutual connections that start showing up. So it's all very good, because especially when you start working towards moving on into your careers, the more connections, it's like the old world network. The more you have network, the more connections you have, the better off you are, because then you can go to those connections and you can try to work those connections for various things. So that's what I did. You can update your background here. You can do some different things on your profile. Add skills. Should you have any other skills you want to add for volunteer work, courses that you may have taken, or if you've done like LinkedIn Learning or anything else like that, you can also put those in your profile. It helps build out those skills. You can also, independent of that, you can also take assessments of various software products whatsoever, like Excel. And if you pass those Excel assessments, those skills can now be verified and put onto your profile as well. So thanks for sharing. It's a good one. I had a couple others in there since we have a little bit of time.
Ashore has hit her hand raised, or his hand raised.
Okay, you got a question?
Yes. Hi, my name is Azure, and so I heard you talking about you want to put like the different jobs you've worked in, different things like that, and I want to know if because I've worked in pizza companies, but I've also worked for a vet clinic. So my question is, should I put the experience of yes, I've worked in a restaurant, yes, I can make pizzas and everything, but my focus is supposed to I want to be a vet. So I don't know if I should add that because it doesn't really I
Yeah,
feel like it doesn't bring valuable information
right,
to my LinkedIn.
right. Yeah. When did you do that in respect to where you are now?
One more time.
When did you work there in respect to where you are now? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 5 years ago?
Um, well, since I'm in school, the pizza place does not have a company out here, so I technically still work for them when I'm home in the summer. But
Okay.
before 2020, I worked at a vet clinic and a kennel for about 2 years. But I haven't
Okay, so
gone back yet. But you know,
so there's a good place to at least to that for sure. Definitely put on there. Your duties, what you did, get a recommendation from somebody there, somebody your boss or whomever you worked with. That's a good place to
okay,
get it. Now, as for the pizza place, so in a previous walk of life, I used to work in minor league baseball. I worked in management in minor league baseball, and we had internships, and I used to always hire interns to fill the various roles, and they were always I used to call them kids. They're always kids right out of college, and
right,
a lot of them wouldn't have very much on a resume. So I always would tell people, if you have something and you want to tell a story about whether you're, because it's not necessarily the act of making the pizza. It's
right,
the act of you came in, you were reliable, you did the work, you worked hard, you worked overtime, all these different things you may have done. That's what told me that this person could be a good intern for me to bring in and essentially mold into something that really is helpful for us and our organization. So volunteer work is always important too, but that kind of stuff is always really important to potentially to wrap into it because it tells so much more about who you are. And it may not seem relevant on the surface as just pizza, but it's the acts that you did while you were there that really tell who you are as an individual. You may have learned how to grind, you may have learned how to do all that kind of stuff on the job, and that's the kind of stuff that people are going to look at.
right. And I do have one more question, if it's not
Yeah,
too
go
much.
ahead.
Okay, so when I was little, I went to a Purdue vet camp. I went to it for both years, the junior and senior vet camps. I've
Uh-huh.
been to one at IU. Should I add that to my LinkedIn
I would.
profile, or was that something that should? Okay,
I would. That
that's it.
that would tell
Okay,
me that that's somebody who's wanted this forever. You know what I mean? So like this is you being like, I feel destined to be in this job kind of thing. I feel destined to do this. So telling somebody that you've been driven for so long to do this is again an indicator that you're probably somebody who is a good potential, is a good person to stick, etc. So I would definitely put that.
okay. And then what part of the LinkedIn profile would I put that in? Would I put that like in the summary, or
You
how would I
you
put
could put it
that?
you could put it in experience if you want. And you can even say just flat out, this is when I did it, but the reason I'm showing this is because I've been destined for this, or whatever you want, however you want to put that. That's what I would do.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Any other questions out there? I know I had one more. I thought I had one more. Let's see here. I have Sonia here who posted a profile, unless she doesn't want to. Sonia said, yay. All right. I assume that's a go. Let's see here. Go for it. All right, we'll do. So here's Sonia. All right. Oh, you've already got your master's? That's always good. You got a lot of connections there. Strategy languages for the charter office school. What's that now? Oh, okay. Oh, you've been a teacher? That's good. Me too. University of Wisconsin. Man, wow, this is a good profile. So you see here, there's a handful of things. So thanks for sharing, Sonia. She's got her profiles on or pronouns on here. You've got kind of where you live. You can always, so you've got a theme kind of to what you're doing in your career. You can always, again, tag yourself as like, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. You're a doctoral candidate. That's where you're doing. Oh, so you have a master's and you're going for a doctorate. Interesting. That's good. So what you could do is you could fill out a little bit more as to what your particular roles are in your current role in as a teacher, et cetera, that you have here. Public administration at U Delaware, that's good. You've got some endorsements, that's nice. Some research endorsements and some skills. Oh, you've got Arabic, oh wow, and French. Okay, and there's another one apparently. So many, we couldn't even list off all four of them on one page. So this is great. So this is taking a lot of the different things that, not to say languages are not something that people will consider, but this is taking some things that are, you notice that there's the bachelor, there's the master, there's the doctorate, all the way down to here you have experiences. Look how far down we go, intern. So this is part-time, that's great. An RA, all the way down to RA, so that's great. So that kind of stuff, what this is telling people who are potentially recruiting is, this person's driven, they have taken on many hats over their life. They've done a lot of different things, but mainly they've been driven, not here solely with the experience, but also look at the education. So this is a great profile. What I would recommend is when you're looking at like the education skills, you've got some various things, you got a handful of good recommendations there, is you can add many more skills here. So what you're seeing here with just the skills, for instance, is it's saying education is a skill. It's a singular skill. So the concept of education or research. And people are essentially voting that, yes, she has this skill. So that's why it's listing the various people here. So what I would do in your instance is you have to have more skills than this. There's no way you don't have any skills. Language, saw that, already on the other page. That's definitely something to add on there. So the more you add more skills onto this, the more people will essentially upvote you or kind of give the thumbs up. Yes, this person has this. But adding those skills as well is going to allow you to be more searchable from recruiters on the back end. When they start looking and they look for somebody, maybe you've picked up various software skills or anything like that that may be out there. The more you do that stuff and add that kind of stuff on there, maybe within the teaching realm, you learned how to use a particular learning management system or something like that. You could add that. That again just adds one more element to your potential profile. But this is great. I love it. And I like the description here. A lot of focus on your experience. You could fill this out as to your roles, as I mentioned, kind of what you've done specifically. But this is good. Thanks for sharing. Cheryl, looks like you got a hand raised.
I do. I just had one question looking at my profile. So, we have the tendency to post and repost things that other people in our network have posted. How much of an influence do you think that employers take on that, on what they see on your profile?
In terms of your posts or likes or anything like that? Well, if it was LinkedIn, they would definitely take a look at it for sure, because a lot of times they want to know what you're doing. I don't mean in the sense of like Big Brother or anything like that, but I mean like, are you active on LinkedIn? Um, so that's a good question, because the purpose of LinkedIn is to show your professional self, right? So you're in education. So what you're relevantly going to be posting is going to be education related, right? So things, states come down with some new program that you guys are doing, you're excited about it, you're posting about it, or somebody else is posting about it, and you're commenting on it. So it not what I've known is employers are not necessarily so like focused on what you're posting necessarily, because a lot of times it is all within the professional realm. Now, certainly there's bad actors out there. There always are. But it is most important to just simply show who you are. And because I guarantee it, especially on LinkedIn, recruiters will look and they say, well, what's this person been up to? And if you're posting stuff that's all positive, they're going to be, all right, this person's exactly the person we're looking for. So my point is, kind of going down to the base of it, LinkedIn is a professional network. You know, you may not be posting the same things on LinkedIn that you might on Facebook or on Instagram or anything else. You know what I mean? So the network is also very good of controlling its own environment. People will say, hey, that's out of line, and this, that, and the other, because people know they want to sort of keep this sacred, if you will, within the professional realm. So my position on it is have at it, post whatever you want, but just simply keep it professional and keep it something that somebody who is out there that may be looking for you as a potential employee may approve of in some form.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anything else? I know we're coming up on time.
That was actually pretty quick. That was a lot of information in a very
It's a
short
lot.
amount of time. So
I've had to take that deck and like really slice it down, because there's so much information that's out
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
And so really the takeaway with this is, when you get a spare chance, just open up your profile and just start taking a look at it. And it's really just taking a look at it from the lens of somebody else. And what am I telling people? And where do I want to go? Do I want to move from this role to that role? You know, with earlier, we were talking about, are you looking to go into law or something like that? So, okay, so it's almost like, that's why I say almost joke about it, like future attorney general. You know what I mean? People might see that and they might laugh or this, anything like that, but future candidate for attorney, whatever. So you're basically kind of hinting at, this is where I want to go and this is my drive. And I think that's really helpful. So just take a lens and just take a look at it and just play with it. It's living, so just continue to play with it. Add different things as you go on, and you'll do fine.
All right.
fantastic.
So we thank you so much, Eric,
Yeah.
for giving us that insight to LinkedIn. I hope that it helped all of you who are on the call. It definitely helped me. Like I said, I've tried to dabble a little bit in LinkedIn, so I try to have a decent profile, but there was still some things like the video profile video. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was there. So I need to go ahead and download that app and make sure that I set that up. So thank you so much for sharing with us. And everybody who's on the line, I hope that you realize that this is another connection that you can have. So Eric shared a way to connect with him on LinkedIn. I sent my friend request. We've seen some people send their friend request. So hopefully we'll get connected. So I am going to turn it over for remarks with Mrs. Still and your GSA president, Ms. Dion Williams.
Yes. So Eric, thank you so much. As Ms. Craig echoed, we did learn a lot. I implore our students of Delaware State University to do exactly what he said. take a look at your profile, update it, because this is your connection to your next step, the next step in your journey, right? For employment and networking and connections. So Eric, thank you so much. We truly, truly appreciate it. As mentioned in our advertisement, students, please do not forget to get your headshots. We are offering someone who has volunteered more or less to take photos of everyone who attended. So you'll have a nice headshot for your profile. Graduate students, you will be getting a 1-year premium membership to LinkedIn. So in the coming days, Ms. Craig will forward me the listing of who attended, and we will work to get that to you. And so again, Eric, thank you so much. We look forward to staying connected with you. And have a good evening. Ms. Dion Williams is our GSA president, and she's on, and she'll have closing remarks. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Dion Williams, a PhD student here at Delaware State University and current president of the Graduate Student Association. We thank you, Mr. Eric, for giving us the nuts and bolts to build our LinkedIn profile. From this workshop, I think we all have the tools to market ourselves, to make sure that we can be an asset to a company. So again, thank you for your advice and for all the skills and advice that you have provided this evening. And we thank Ms. Craig and Ms. Steele and all the faculty, staff, and student for attending tonight's workshop. So let's make those connections, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Just
Thank
a
you,
reminder,
too.
you will have a follow-up email that will be sent to you that will include the instructions for the headshots. I believe we have them scheduled for March 30th. Just a heads up, from 4 to 6. And then April 1st, which is a Friday, from 10 to 12. You'll come to the library, second floor of my office, 200, to get your headshots done. So, but an email will go out. All right, so pay attention to your emails, and we enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll let Mrs. Poe have the last say, and then have a good night, guys. You're muted.
I see that would make sense if I'm mute. See that, Mr. Raubel? But thank you so very much. I appreciate you taking the time out to be with our DSU scholars. I learned a lot. And if I'm going to stay cool like my students and be up to date, I need to make sure I update my profile as well. Thank you so much for all the knowledge you're willing to share. Thank you so much, Mrs. Cheryl Steele, Ms. Cheryl Lally, and the amazing Ms. Dion T. Williams. I'm so proud of you. And our guru, Ms. Danielle Craig. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night,
everyone.
Good night.
Thanks
Have a
again.
good night.